So Blossum End Rot is a huge enemy to us gardeners. And sorry, I'm coughing here. Or I'm trying not to cough. But anyways, huge enemy to us gardeners. And Blossum End Rot is caused by two main issues. One, calcium deficiency, and two is infrequent watering. The infrequent watering, how that works is when you don't have enough water in your soil to help pull up all those nice beneficial nutrients into your plant and the plant roots. You can have as much calcium as you want in there, but at the end of the day, you're still going to get Blossum End Rot. But if you're one to have a good consistent watering schedule and you still have Blossum End Rot, then you're only left with the final or the other option, which is a calcium deficiency. Treating Blossum End Rot is not really I see it, now I have to treat it. It's best to be treated preemptively and proactively. And by doing that, a lot of folks will add calcium to their soil, one of which are chicken eggshells. So what my wife and I do is we have our own chickens here. We save the eggshells. We break them up, usually with like the bottom of a jar or a glass. And then we'll take them and we'll transfer them into a coffee ground or a coffee grinder. And that really makes a nice fine powder. Let's see if we can get it. It makes a nice fine powder here, which you can see. And then these are usually about $6 to $8, $10 at Big Lots. You probably get them. You probably find them at garage sales for $1 or $2. But they have nice options: coarse, medium, and fine. So you can adjust how big you want these pieces to be. I make mine real fine. Try to make them as fine as possible. And this is just with one cycle through the coffee grinder. So you'll see some that are kind of mildly coarse, and then the rest that's a nice powder. And you can see it leaves a nice powdery film on my hands. So you do that. You take this, you add it to a gallon of water. I usually will add like a third of a cup. Or sometimes you can just sprinkle it on your soil if you want. Take this, add it to your plant. And this year what I'm going to try doing is when I'm adding calcium to my plant, I'm also going to add magnesium as well, or Epsom salt. And by doing this, I am really giving this plant additional nutrients that it otherwise might not have, which is magnesium and sulfur. The sulfur is going to help with acidity and the overall health of the plant. The magnesium is going to help with chlorophyll production and uptake of certain nutrients that magnesium needs to be present in order for the plant to suck up. And if you don't have the readily available eggshells, or you just don't trust the eggshells that you get from the store or so on and so forth, you can get a cheaper option, which are, let me hide that, antacid tablets. You can get organic antacid tablets, or you can get these. I'm just going to try these because these are what we had laying around. This is what I was going to use last year in my hydroponic system, but I just decided not to because last year I came to the conclusion that I wasn't going to do hydroponics again, just because of the cost, and it really didn't do what I wanted, or it really didn't fulfill the purpose that I was shooting for. So with the antacid tablets, you really only need close to about 1 gram of calcium per gallon of water, and then you just spray that throughout your plants as needed. These are just 500 milligram tablets, so I'm going to use 2 per gallon of water. You can find 950s or 975s, and you can even find some of the antacid tablets that have magnesium in them. If you can get them cheap with magnesium in them, then you have a 2-for-1. You're essentially taking the chicken eggshells and the Epsom salt and making it in an all-purpose spray. The Tums do break down easier than the eggshells, just because these are a little bit more fine, and you can crush them up before you mix them with the water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test, and half of my tomato plants I'm going to have this, and the other half I'm going to have this, and then Epsom salt. And I'm going to see which one works a little bit better. But I think they're probably going to work just about the same. And and hopefully give me some nice healthy tomatoes. Now remember, a few videos ago you saw that we do our hand mixing fertilizer at home, which is the Hollytone, the bone meal to give us the phosphorus, the blood meal to give us a super great amount of nitrogen, and then we have the azomite, which is it also helps the roots suck up the nutrients as needed, and we also put mycorrhiza, which is a fancy term for fungi, beneficial fungi in your soil. So we add all those things together, and that's great, but there's only about 2 to 3% of sulfur in the Hollytone, and that you're supposed to reapply that every month. So we'll be reapplying that, but 2% of sulfur, or not sulfur, but 2% of calcium and sulfur is not really that high, and you will inevitably get Blossum End Rot unless you add another supplement. You can buy supplements, online, calcium powder and everything, but it is kind of expensive. So, if you're a chicken, if you keep chickens, just keep your shells, or go to Dollar Tree or wherever you want and grab these antacid tablets. I also get this at Dollar Tree. It is a 2-pound box, so this is really cheap. So the mix I'll do is I'll do about 1/3 of a cup of the eggshells to 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt for a gallon. And in this, I'm going to do 2 tablets with 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt to a gallon of water. And that should give us roughly about the same amount of calcium in both. The one thing you have to watch out for is because you're adding calcium carbonate into your soil, you over time run the risk of making your soil basic. There's a lot of blogs and things like that that'll say, well, having a basic soil is good. I like my soil acidic. My plants do better in acidic soil. So I have a meter that is going to tell me how acidic my soil is and how nutrient dense my soil is. So when you're putting the calcium in your soil, please keep an eye out for your acidity. This is where I'm also hoping that the magnesium sulfate or the Epsom salt is going to help, because it does have sulfur in it. So hopefully by adding this into the soil, it will help maintain the acidity that I want. And then of course, if your plant or if your soil does become too basic, then just grab yourself some powderized sulfur, mix it in some water, and adjust your pH from there. So, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the thumbs up button, and please enter in comments below, and stay tuned for another one.